What if the impossible wasn't so impossible after all? Welcome to If Possible, the channel where imagination collides with reality. Here we dive into the biggest what-if questions, from science that pushes the limits of our universe to mysteries of history and myths reimagined in ways you've never heard before. Each video is a journey, not just of answers, but of possibilities. So buckle up, because the next few minutes might just change the way you see the world forever. Have you ever looked up at the sky on a brilliant sunny day and wondered what our world would be without that magnificent star? It is a thought that might cross our minds for a fleeting moment, a fanciful notion before we return to our daily lives, bathed in its familiar warmth and light. But what if it were not just a passing thought? What if one day, without any warning, the sun simply vanished? It is a question that sends a shiver down the spine, for it challenges the very foundation of our existence. Our planet, Earth, is intrinsically linked to this celestial body, a dance of gravity and energy that has continued for billions of years, allowing life to flourish in the most spectacular ways. To imagine its absence is to imagine a world entirely alien to the one we know and love. The sun is the great engine of our planet. It dictates our days. It dictates our nights. It dictates our seasons. It dictates our weather. Let us embark on this thought experiment together. The sun is far more than just a bright object in our sky. It is the very heart of our solar system and the ultimate source of all life on Earth. Its immense gravitational pull holds our planet in a stable, predictable orbit, preventing us from hurtling off into the cold interstellar darkness. This cosmic tether is what gives us our year, the 365-day journey that defines our seasons and shapes our climate. Without the sun's gravity, Earth would no longer follow its familiar path. It would become a rogue planet, an orphan adrift in the vast expanse of the Milky Way. This gravitational bond is the first and most fundamental connection we have to our star. Beyond gravity, the sun provides the two ingredients essential for life as we know it, light and warmth. The energy it radiates outward bathes our planet, warming its surface, its oceans and its atmosphere to a temperature that is just right for liquid water to exist and for life to thrive. This is often called the Goldilocks zone, not too hot, not too cold, but just right. This warmth drives our weather systems, creating winds, ocean currents, and the water cycle that brings rain to our lands. Light is perhaps the sun's most visible gift. The process of photosynthesis, which is the foundation of nearly every food chain on the planet, relies entirely on sunlight. Tiny green organisms, from algae in the oceans to the leaves on the tallest trees, capture this light and convert it into chemical energy. This energy then sustains the whole biosphere. Therefore, to speak of the sun is to speak of life itself. If the sun were to vanish from the universe at this very moment, we on Earth would not know it instantly. Light, as fast as it is, does not travel instantaneously. It journeys at approximately 186,000 miles per second, but the distance between the sun and our planet is so vast, around 93 million miles, that it takes time for its light to reach us. This journey takes, on average, 8 minutes and 20 seconds. For those precious minutes, everything on Earth would appear completely normal. The sky would remain blue. The birds would continue to sing. We would feel the sun's warmth on our skin, entirely oblivious to the fact that our star was already gone. This delay applies not only to light, but also to gravity. According to Einstein's theory of general relativity, gravity also travels at the speed of light. For those same 8 minutes and 20 seconds, Earth would continue to follow its familiar curved path around the empty space where the sun used to be. The sun's immense gravitational pull would still be holding us in orbit, like a phantom limb whose presence is still felt long after it has been lost. Then the moment would arrive. 8 minutes and 20 seconds after the sun's disappearance, the effects would strike Earth, and they would be immediate and absolute. The first and most obvious change would be the sudden plunge into darkness. The moon would vanish. Only the distant, faint twinkle of the stars would remain, and the artificial lights of our cities would be the other source. Freed from the sun's embrace, Earth would fly off in a straight line, tangential to its previous path, a rogue planet careening through the cosmos. The immediate aftermath of the sun's disappearance would be a scene of unimaginable chaos and confusion. The sudden, instantaneous transition from day to night across half the planet would be profoundly disorienting. People outdoors would find themselves in a darkness deeper than any they'd ever experienced. A night without a moon, the planets would vanish. Stars would shine with an unfamiliar clarity. Panic would grip society. Power grids not built for this surge would likely fail in many areas. Our artificial lights would be extinguished. Cities plunged into even deeper darkness. Communication networks would be overwhelmed as people tried to contact loved ones. Governments and scientists would scramble. Telescopes would be pointed at an empty patch of sky, trying to confirm the impossible. The psychological impact would be immense. The sun, a symbol of constancy and hope, would feel like the end of reality itself. It would feel like a tear in the fabric of the universe. For the animal kingdom, confusion would be profound. Diurnal animals thrown into panic, birds falling from the sky as instincts are scrambled, herds left vulnerable and disoriented. Nocturnal creatures might initially emerge, their clocks telling them it's night. But the ever-deepening cold would soon affect them. Plants would begin their slow decline almost immediately. Photosynthesis would cease instantly. This wouldn't kill most plants right away, but it would start their starvation. The green engines of our planet would fall silent, one by one, starting a collapse of the global food web. All of this, starting with 8 minutes of blissful, unsuspecting ignorance. Without the sun's constant stream of energy, the Earth would begin to lose its accumulated warmth to the cold vacuum of space. This cooling process would start immediately, although it would not be felt as a sudden, catastrophic drop. The planet's atmosphere and oceans are vast reservoirs of heat and would act as a temporary blanket, slowing the descent into a deep freeze. In the first few days, the change would be noticeable, but perhaps not yet deadly for everyone. Global average temperatures would drop below freezing around 0 degrees Celsius within about a week. The world would experience a universal autumn followed by a winter from which there would be no spring. The surface of the oceans would begin to freeze over, starting at the poles and gradually extending toward the equator. A thick crust of ice would form, insulating the deep waters below and temporarily protecting life within them. On land, snow would begin to fall and never melt, accumulating in vast permanent sheets. Rivers and lakes would freeze solid, the world slowly transforming into a global snowball. After a year adrift, surface temperatures would plummet to around -100 degrees Celsius, far colder than Earth's coldest recorded extremes. As the air becomes incredibly cold, its constituent gases would begin to freeze. Carbon dioxide would precipitate out as a fine, dry ice snow. Eventually, even oxygen would condense and freeze, collapsing the sky and leaving our planet an airless ice ball. This extreme cold would render the surface inhospitable and preserve it like a motionless museum of a lost world. The warmth would become a distant memory, a planet encased in ice and frost, silent, still, and uninhabitable. In the face of such change, could any life on Earth possibly survive? On the surface, the answer would be a definitive no. Total darkness, the collapse of photosynthesis-based food chains, plummeting temperatures would extinguish most surface life within a year. Plants, land animals, surface-dwelling sea creatures, forests and coral reefs, an extinction event far greater than any before. Yet life is tenacious. It exists in places the sun never reaches, deep within the oceans around hydrothermal vents. Entire ecosystems thrive there, powered by chemical energy from the planet's interior. Chemosynthetic bacteria form the base of these food chains, using chemicals like hydrogen sulfide, much like plants use sunlight. Tube worms, blind crabs, and other strange creatures rely entirely on this geothermal energy. Internal heat would keep the deep oceans liquid beneath a thick crust of ice, creating a hidden biosphere that could persist for centuries or millennia. Some life would survive on the slow marine snow of detritus falling from the dying surface world. For humanity, survival would depend on harnessing geothermal energy while the surface freezes. Deep oceans would remain liquid under ice and could shelter life, but humans could not survive on the surface. Our only chance would be to go deep underground, retrofitting mines, bunkers, and building subterranean cities. Powered by geothermal and nuclear energy, with hydroponics, air and water recycling, we could preserve fragments of civilization beneath the ice. The unraveling of Earth's ecosystems would begin the very second the light went out. The web of life is fundamentally dependent on the energy that plants convert through photosynthesis. Large trees might survive for years, consuming stored energy like dormant giants, while smaller plants with fewer reserves would wither within weeks or months. The planet's green lungs would stop breathing, and global oxygen production would grind to a halt. Herbivores, from wildebeest to caterpillars, would be the first to face starvation. Their food source gone, vast die-offs would follow, leaving the world littered with bodies. In the oceans, phytoplankton would perish within days, collapsing marine food webs. Predators might feast for a short time, then turn on each other as the food disappears. Scavengers would briefly thrive, then dwindle as the system collapses. The collapse would begin at the base, with soil, roots and primary producers failing. Sounds of the wild, insects, birds, mammal calls, would gradually fade into an everlasting silence. Even with some extremophiles surviving, the eventual loss of oxygen would be a critical long-term problem. Over thousands of years, the atmosphere itself would be consumed by geological and biological processes, leaving the air unbreathable. The life support system built by life itself would fail, leaving a sterile, frozen planet. Humanity's initial reaction would be disbelief, followed by global panic and despair. But as shock subsides, our ingenuity would take over. Engineers and scientists racing to save a fraction of our species. A global race for survival would become humanity's single unifying goal. The scale of the response would dwarf any previous effort, building subterranean cities and converting mines and bunkers into arks. We would retreat from the surface, seeking the warmth of Earth's interior. Existing bunkers and caves would be retrofitted as the first arks. New purpose-built subterranean cities would be constructed using massive infrastructure projects. Shelters would have to be self-sufficient and sealed, capable of supporting communities for generations. The sun is gone. Solar power is useless. Wind turbines would freeze as the atmosphere cools. The only reliable long-term power sources would be geothermal and nuclear energy. We would drill for heat or deploy advanced reactors to power life support, grow lights and infrastructure. Hydroponics, aquaculture, and even insect protein would feed underground communities. Every drop of water and breath of air would be recycled in closed loops. We would preserve seeds, archives, and fragments of culture, a new kind of existence born beneath the surface. Generations would be born and die without ever seeing a blue sky. Our art, stories, and rituals would be reshaped by this new reality. Humanity's final stand would be a quiet, determined retreat into the warm heart of our dying planet, a testament to our refusal to fade into darkness. As our frozen Earth hurtles through the Milky Way as a rogue planet, the story of life on its surface would have ended. The surface would be a silent, icy tomb, a monument to what was lost. Yet deep below, around hydrothermal vents, a flicker of life might remain. Biomes powered by geothermal warmth. These survivors would testify to life's astonishing resilience. This thought experiment teaches a profound lesson about our place in the universe. Our steady stream of solar energy, liquid water, and protective atmosphere are gifts we should never take for granted. Beyond our sun are billions of stars, many with planets. Could there be other Earths, other life? Could life exist in forms we cannot imagine, perhaps around other stars, or even on rogue planets around geothermal vents? While our sun feels unique, it is one among billions. The universe is vast and filled with possibilities. Is life on Earth a singular miracle? Or is the cosmos teeming with life, adapting in ways we have yet to discover? The silent, star-filled night provides no answers, only the endless mystery. Thank you for joining this thought experiment.